fired that gun before?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you aware she had any experience with other firearms besides that one?
I'm not aware of that, no, ma'am.
Did that rifle have a pretty strong kickback on it?
Not really. Not too bad.
And what sort of trigger pull would you say it had?
I mean, from the first, it was a little, it's not like, it wasn't just a hair trigger. It wasn't easy. It was, I mean, if you was spontaneously, because it was rapid, you had to pull the trigger for it to keep firing, and then keep firing.
So what happened after the second round was fired? Henning Ashley, what'd you do? Did you realize you were shot?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do?
I left him.
Why did you leave?
Because I was a coward.
You were scared.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you take the rifle with you?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Why didn't you call her home?
I didn't know what was doing. I was doing.
So where did you go?
I walked up some back streets. I walked up lanes to Lincoln Park and walked to a lady's house. Asked her for a rag to wipe some of the blood off of me.
Okay, and then where'd you go after that?
From there, I got back towards the other place in the neighborhood.
How'd you feel at that time?
I mean, what do you mean how I feel at the time?
Were you scared? Were you anxious? Were you happy? What was your feelings at that time?
I was confused. And
Were you trying to hide from the police at that point?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, were you trying to hide from the police at that point?
no, ma'am, not at that point.
So did you end up at your friend's house?
As in,
Where did you end up going? Where were you arrested, Chad?
in the neighborhood.
You heard the officers explain how you were arrested while you're here in court, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that all true for the most part?
Yeah, they sent a robot in there.
Did you know before the police got there if they were coming to the house or not?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
After you were arrested, did you talk to the detective?
Yes, ma'am, they took me to the memorial building.
And you did an interview with Detective Minaj?
For 7 hours.
And were you arrested at the end of that interview?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Were you afraid Ashley was gonna shoot you when she had the rifle?
Yes, she did.
But why were you afraid she would shoot you?
I had been messing around with Lisa.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no more questions.
All right, cross-examine.
All right, so let's get this straight, Mr. Absher. You're a two-time convicted felon.
Yes, ma'am.
However, you state you owned that High Point rifle, correct?
That's right.
And you're not allowed to own a firearm, are you?
I sure am not.
But you did anyways.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And you kept that firearm, you stated, at the condominium that was being rented by Lisa and Ashley Rucker, correct? Correct?
That was on the lease, yes.
Okay. And you did not keep it in a couch cushion or seat cushion, did you?
It was at the time.
I asked you where you kept it. You did not keep it in a couch or seat cushion, did you?
It was in the bedroom normally.
Okay. So you did not know where your rifle was, did you? At that time.
At what time?
The time that you were looking for it in the condo.
The time I was looking for it, I was never looking for it.
You weren't looking for your rifle. What were you looking for then when you were pacing around after you and Lyle got into a fight?
Just picking up my things, my jacket, getting my keys and phone and everything together.
Right, and that would include your rifle because that's one of your things, isn't it?
That stayed at that house.
But it's one of your things, isn't it?
There was a lot of things at that place that was mine.
I asked you can answer my questions, Mr. Alexander.
I am answering your question.
And I said, isn't it one of your things?
You've been waiting 5 years to do this, ain't you?
You do
Okay,
not.
we are
answer
not,
questions.
let me just stop both parties right here, right now. This is not gonna be an argument. This is gonna be a question and answer, and a question and an answer. I am not going to put up with
Yes, ma'am.
argument between both sides. So ask your question, let him finish his answer, you answer your question, and then she will ask the next question.
The rifle was one of your things, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And you weren't expecting to see the rifle come from a couch or chair cushion, did you?
Oh, ma'am.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning a little bit. You had, on October 30th, 2017, Ashley Rucker's black Mercedes, correct?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And Ashley worked full-time, didn't she?
At what job?
She worked full-time, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And she worked multiple jobs, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you dated her for approximately 4 years, didn't you?
3, 4 years, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you got to know her son Joseph, correct?
Of course.
But on October 30th, 2017, the two of you did not live together at that Cedar Creek condos, correct?
I stayed the night there.
You did not live there, correct?
No, ma'am.
In fact, you lived at a different place, didn't you? The address of 6366 Woodman Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that's the address you gave to police. That's where you live, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes for the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you didn't give them the Cedar Creek condo landing address, did you?
No, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And you stated that you went and picked Ashley up from work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't work that day, did you?
No, ma'am.
And I think you also stated Ashley did several things for you, didn't she, financially?
I never said nothing about financially.
You talked about a cruise. You talked about...
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That was through the job she had at the time.
Right, but she did things for you that involved money, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She was a caring, giving person, wasn't she?
Of course she was.
Okay. And that's why you dated her for 4 years then, didn't you?
Not from nobody's money. No, I did not.
No, that's not what I meant. And I apologize if that came across that way. I meant for being a caring, loving person. That's why you dated her for 4 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and throughout the day, you go and pick her up. I think you'd already stated that. And then at some point The two of you are arguing about her car. Is that a fair statement?
The key.
Right, so that would involve her vehicle, wouldn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you actually left in her vehicle, didn't you, from the condominium earlier in the evening after you had picked her up?
She knew that.
I didn't ask that. Did you do it?
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. In fact, when you went to go leave the condo at that particular time, that is when you saw Lisa Rucker and La Scheidemann and Colton coming back home for the day. Is that correct?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then at some point, you arrived back at the condominium and you were hungry, aren't you? Yes or no?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you all decided to get some pizza. Is that accurate?
That's what the kids want.
Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. And that is for everyone that is now at the condominium. Is that accurate?
yes, ma'am.
And just to be clear, the only individuals that are at the condominium on the night of October 30th are yourself, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Lisa, Lyle, Colton, Joseph, and Ashley. Is that a fair statement?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there's no other individuals except for the six of you. Is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we all are in agreement with that. So you all eat some pizza, don't you?
At some point, yes, ma'am.
And you've already agreed that you were drunk on October 30th, correct?
I stayed drunk.
You stayed drunk, okay. And so you're drunk, correct, then on October 30th,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? And you were drinking Fireball, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, the Fireball that we see in the freezer is your Fireball bottle, isn't it?
Of course.
Okay? So is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I think you and City Law had a drink with you, didn't he?
I didn't let people drink out my bottle.
No, I mean, but did he have a drink with you? I didn't ask you, I didn't,
He was drinking Four Locos.
okay, I didn't ask you if he was drinking Fireball, I just asked you, did he have a drink with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the two of y'all had that drink on the porch?
I don't remember exactly where we was.
Okay. Were you in the condominium?
It was in the vicinity, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it was getting late at this point, wasn't it?
Probably dark.
Okay. And at some point, it's time to go to bed. Are you tired at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agree that you and Ashley and Joseph are all in Ashley's bedroom. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And then Lisa, Lyle, and Colton are doing what they're doing. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's your testimony today. Then you're sleeping in your bed with Ashley, and all of a sudden you just get woken up to people beating you. Is that your testimony today?
What do you mean my testimony today? That's what it was from the beginning.
Please, you don't get to ask the questions. Just please answer my questions.
You're trying to trick me out.
No, I'm not. Please answer my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, with no provocation, you get woken up to 3 adults beating you. That is your statement today, correct?
One for sure. I'm not even going to talk about the girls.
Is that your statement that 3 people were beating you up unprovoked, and that's what you got woken up to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where was Joseph?
He was in the bed when I laid down.
Okay. Well, where did he go? Was he there when you had 3 adults beating you in your sleep?
No, it was not.
Okay, so do you know where he went to?
To Lisa's room.
I mean, I'm not asking you to assume. If you don't know the answer, it's okay to say, I don't know. Do you know where he went?
No,
Let me ask you this. Did you see him leave the bedroom?
I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. So, and I think you also stated earlier that from being beat up on the bed, you were bleeding, correct? Isn't that what you stated a moment ago, that you were bleeding on the bed?
I didn't say I was bleeding on the bed.
You didn't say you were bleeding after being beat
I
up?
said I was bleeding. I didn't say I was bleeding on the bed.
But that's where you got beat up though, right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's look at a photograph here.
All right.
Evidence 1 LL. We don't see any blood on the bed, do we, Mr. Absher?
Of course we don't.
But that's where you were beat up, and that's where you became bloody, isn't it?
How long does it take for blood to run out of the body?
Again, I'm not here for you to ask me questions,
I
sir.
got to my feet before it got blood on the bed, yes ma'am.
Okay, but you agree there's no blood on this bed?
No ma'am, there's not.
Okay. And then you mentioned a moment ago also too that per your testimony it takes a while for blood to occur. You don't see any other blood on the floor, do you, in State's Evidence 1 LL?
No, I do not.
Okay. So then when did you start bleeding?
I'm sure as soon as it started.
Okay. So if it started in the bed, wouldn't you agree there should be blood in this bed?
No, I will not agree to that.
Okay. So you're just going to contradict yourself?
I didn't contradict myself.
Okay. All right. So are you then disagreeing that the fight between you and Lyle commenced in the bedroom and then ended in the hallway? Are you disagreeing with that?
It was never a fight.
Okay. So you never threw any punches at Lyle?
No ma'am, I did not.
So then how did Lyle sustain his injuries?
Where was he injured at?
Okay, well, let's look. You agree you see some scrapings on his right hand?
Yes ma'am, I do.
So you agree that that's an injury?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. And then also too, you see some markings on the palm of his left hand. You agree that's some injuries as well?
No, it was not. It looks like dried up blood.
Okay. And then also looking at State's Evidence 3D, you see some lacerations as well going down his right arm. Would you agree?
Can't say it's a laceration, no ma'am.
Okay. But you do agree you at least see some injury to Mr. Scheidemann, correct?
There's blood on him.
Okay, well, so you disagree with me. You don't see any injury to Mr. Scheidemann.
His hand, yes ma'am.
Okay, so you agree you at least see some injury then, correct?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. And you agree that those injuries occurred when you and Lyle were in a fight, correct?
I'm assuming.
Okay. And you agree that the linen closet's door got broke, correct?
No ma'am.
Okay, you don't agree that the linen door was broken?
Why would I agree to that?
There's photograph evidence of it. You disagree with the photograph evidence?
Of a door that's moved in the blood apartment?
Yes. You want to see some? And what about the further parts that's wrong with the linen closet that were broke?
Mm-hmm.
You disagree with that photographic evidence?
I'll pull it up.
Okay, let's pull it up. Can you see State's Evidence 1 M defendant?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. You agree that you see some paper towels and some things that have fallen here in the linen closet? Would you agree with that?
I see stuff on the floor, yes ma'am.
Okay. All right, let's get to a couple other pictures here. So looking at State's Evidence 1 GG, would you agree there's damage here to the linen closet?
Wouldn't call it damage.
Okay. What about looking at State's 1 HH? You see all the different, you've got shelves on the ground, you've got parts of the shelves also on the ground, there is damage then to the door. Do you agree that that's damage?
Yes ma'am, you can assume that that's what it is.
I'm not asking you to assume. I'm asking you to agree that this photograph, 1GG, shows damage to the linen closet. I apologize, 18H for the record. But you're saying that the fight between you and Lyle didn't happen here by the linen closet?
No, ma'am, it did not.
Okay. So, are you saying then how did this damage occur?
I honestly can't tell you what's going on right there.
Okay. But you're there almost every day though, right?
That's right.
Okay. So if you're there almost every day, then how do you not know about damage to the linen closet?
I don't look in the linen closet when I'm there.
Okay. You agree there's fresh blood there too, don't you?
No, I do not work.
Okay. Let me point it out for you. See right here, I just circled by that white towel. You don't agree that that looks like fresh blood?
That's a towel.
Okay? I'm not talking about the white towel. I'm talking about what's beside it to the right that I just circled. You don't see the fresh blood right there?
No.
Okay. Let me fast forward real quick here. You see the further damage and then some blood by EV6 and states 1 quadruple C? Do you still disagree that that's not blood?
I see some napkins that was cleaned of blood and put in there. That's
Okay.
what I see.
So you're saying it was staged?
You're good.
You said it was put
No.
there, so I'm just asking you, do you think it was staged?
I don't know, honestly, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let's look at state's evidence 1 quadruple D. Do you agree you see blood there?
Yes, ma'am.
You agree it looks fresh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's because you were also bleeding, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am, what?
So you agree that that could be your blood?
It's possible.
Okay.
That's my blood.
So you do agree in 1 quadruple F that that's your blood?
That's where I spit the blood out of my mouth when I first got out of bed.
Okay. So you're saying that this is your blood?
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
comfortable with that?
I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay, all right. Because again, your fighting started around this door frame, didn't it, with Lyle?
I did not. I started in bed.
Okay. But you agree the door we're looking at in 1 quadruple E, that's the door,
To Ashley's bedroom.
thank you, you knew where I was going, didn't you? Now looking at state's evidence 1 quadruple G, do you agree, and then I'll show you a little bit closer view here, 1 quadruple H, do you agree that that looks like fresh blood on those towels?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you agree that potentially could be yours, or Lyle's blood?
It's probably mine.
Okay, and that was because you and Lyle were fighting?
There was never a fight.
Okay. So you're saying you just let Lyle beat you down and you did nothing? Is that your testimony today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. When you say there's no fight, that means you didn't do anything in return. Correct? You agree with me?
He ran when I got out of bed.
Right. But when you're saying there's no fight, you agree then what you're stating is you did nothing and you allowed Lyle just to beat you. Correct?
I was asleep.
It's a yes or no answer.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And you didn't have any problems with Lyle prior to those early morning hours, October 31st, did you?
No, ma'am.
In fact, the two of you only knew each other a few days, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So isn't it odd that then Lyle would just come to you in the middle of the night to beat you when you've never had an issue? Don't you agree that's odd?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's because it didn't happen that way, correct?
That's what you say.
Yes or no answer?
No.
Now, you know that Lisa called 911, correct?
No, I do not.
So you did not know she called 911?
No.
So until you were arrested, that's when you're stating that you learned about the 911 call by Lisa?
Did you say that again?
After your arrest, is that what you're stating today? Is you learned about the call then by Lisa?
That's the first I've heard him call, yes.
Okay. Oh, you're saying through the pendency of this case, that's the first time you've heard the call?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You agree in the back of the call, you can hear Lisa saying no, no, no. Do you agree that you can hear Lisa say no, no, no in the call?
I guess.
I'm not asking you to guess. Do you remember that?
Can you play it again?
Sure. I'll play a portion before we get to that. So I'm thinking about the 911 call. Do you agree that Lisa says there's been an altercation? Do you agree with that? Or do you need your memory refreshed?
You're about to play it?
Do you need your memory refreshed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to do 2 short portions. I've already got them timestamped ready for you.
Ready for me?
No, 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 no. No. There's an altercation on us.
Okay, so I just paused it at 19 seconds. So you agree that Lisa is saying no, 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 correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you agree that there are males in the background telling her to not talk on 911, correct?
I was listening for the no. I wasn't paying attention.
Okay, we can move on past that. But you agree she tells then also there's an altercation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the altercation, that indicates 2 people involved, at least, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, at this point, you do agree that you were pacing the condominium, correct?
Pacing?
Okay, you're going around in various places in the condominium, correct?
Getting my jacket, my shirt, phones, my keys, stuff.
Okay? And then even in fact, you walk out to the porch area too, don't you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. And that's because you're being told to leave by Lisa, correct?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
Lisa never told you to leave?
I didn't say that. That's not why I walked to the porch.
I'm asking you another question.
But you asked me one first.
I'm asking you, did Lisa tell you to leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? And in fact, Ashley wanted you to leave as well, correct?
I don't recall.
You don't recall? Okay. She didn't want to be around you though, did she? At this point in time.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay. And Joseph's not known you've known Joseph for several years, correct? At that point in time? And Joseph isn't known to lie, is he?
Yes, he is.
He is. Okay, so that's your testimony today?
No, when I first said that he don't lie, it was because of the fact that I wasn't about to let nothing happen to him, and I'm not going to say something bad against him.
He was 9 years old at the time, correct?
Right?
All right, and Colton was 4 years old?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now you're saying that little Joseph, 9-year-old, is just a little liar. Is that what you're saying today?
He was at the time. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you didn't know that Joseph and Colton were still in the condo, did you?
No, ma'am.
In fact, you thought that they had left with Lyle, didn't you?
I don't know where nobody was at.
Right, but you didn't see Lyle, did you?
Of course not.
He left, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you didn't know where he went, did you?
No, ma'am.
And you didn't know that Colton and Joseph, where they were located, did you?
Not at the time. No, ma'am.
So at this time, you think it's just you, Lisa, and Ashley in the condominium, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're not happy that you just got beat up, are you?
No, ma'am.
And you're drunk too, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it's kind of embarrassing, isn't it, to get beat up?
I've been beat up most of my life. No, it's not.
Okay, so you weren't embarrassed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you agree that Lyle got the better of you, correct?
I guess you'd say that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Lisa's on the ground cleaning up blood, isn't she?
No, she's standing by the bar when I come through.
Okay, so you're saying that she wasn't cleaning up blood?
No, she had a phone in her hand.
Okay. Well, where did the Windex and the rag come from?
I don't know.
Could you please repeat? I'm sorry.
I said I'm not sure.
Okay. But you agree that there's Windex and a rag on the floor, correct?
It's in this picture, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's exactly, and just make it very clear. And you agree that on State's Evidence 1 PP, we do see a Windex bottle in a blue rack, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you do agree this is where Lisa was located, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The time that she was shot, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're stating Lisa did not shoot herself, did she?
Yes, ma'am.
But you're denying shooting Lisa, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you're stating that Ashley, the older sister, who's always cared for Lisa, shot her, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I think you stated earlier as well that by dating Ashley, that kind of also included Lisa. Isn't that what you stated earlier?
Towards morning, and yes, ma'am.
Okay. But yet, now all of a sudden she's going to shoot her own sister? That's what you want the jurors to believe?
I'm not trying to make them believe anything.
That's what you're saying today then, aren't you?
I'm saying that the bullet was intended for me.
Okay. You don't know what Ashley was doing though, do you?
At what time?
Okay. You're saying that Ashley was just out of the blue going to shoot you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Even though you're being asked to leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you agree that doesn't make sense, correct?
Of course.
Okay. But you agree then, looking though, and I'll move on past this then, states 1 PP, this is where Lisa was shot. You don't disagree with that, do you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I think you stated that your rifle that you're not allowed to own was in one of the couch cushions, correct?
That's where it was at
Okay.
the time of this.
And I think I just wanted to flush out. Are we talking about the larger couch? Are we talking about the love seat? Or are we talking about the chair?
It was behind the first couch here, not the one in front of.
All right, let me just pull up a picture. I just want to make sure we know exactly what you're saying. Are you talking about States 1 AAA? Is that where you're stating that Ashley had pulled out your rifle?
Behind the pillows.
Is that a guess then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we see, I think, what, 5 pillows? Is that accurate? 5 pillows, is that what you see as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're saying behind these pillows, that's where Ashley pulled out your rifle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where are you standing at this time? Can we see it in State's Evidence 1 AAA?
I'm more towards where.
You can draw, actually. Go ahead and touch it.
Okay. I'm in this area. Ashley's here. And this is where Lisa's over in here.
Okay. All right. So you're stating you're pretty close then to Lisa, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you're saying Lisa's standing up, correct? Not on her hands and knees.
She was leaning against that. That's a bar. This right here is a bar.
Correct? Mm-hmm. All right. And are you standing up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how is Ashley positioned?
She was coming through these. She would come this way, wiping blood up as I was going out to go to the front door.
Okay, we just,
Come up. When she came up from right here, she leaned up and had that in her hand. Was shot this way. It's Lisa
okay.
right here.
Well, I'll pull it back. So I just want to come back a sec. You're saying that Ashley's cleaning up blood in front of the love seat?
Somewhere right through here. Actually, there might be a speck right there. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, you agreed though, in the interior of the couches, there is no blood, correct?
Of course not.
Okay, but, so how is Ashley cleaning up blood there if there's no blood there?
So I came down through here.
So you're saying you're dripping blood through there,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's why she's cleaning blood there?
Right.
But isn't the blood concentrated in the hallway?
Which area?
The hallway leading in back to Ashley's bedroom. That's where all the blood is, don't you agree?
It's back there, yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, wouldn't that be the locations of where someone needs to clean up blood?
It's just, yeah.
Okay. So, I just want to make it clear. So the rifle is, and I'm in blue, somewhere behind one of these 5 cushions. Lisa is standing up, not kneel down. You don't know where the Windex and the rag came from, correct?
No.
And you are just happen to be standing right here in front of Lisa, and I'll put a C for you. And then Ashley's kind of standing where her foot is in this picture. Would that be accurate?
Excuse me. That's where she fell.
Okay. And then you don't know why Ashley's pointing a gun at you, correct?
Not 100%, no, ma'am.
Okay, so this just randomly happens then, correct?
That's what you want to say, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so also with her sister, who she appears to treat like her own, kind of like a daughter in a lot of ways, she's going to also have a gun that's pointed in yours and her sister's direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so how are you're able to then move out of the way? Because you agree you're 6'1", 200 pounds, correct?
I was 187 when I got locked up.
Okay. Well, you weren't exactly locked up on October 31st, were you?
No, it's 2 days after when.
Okay. But you're approximately 6'1", 200, correct?
Rounded, yes, ma'am.
Okay, because that's what you told Detective Minaj, correct?
Somewhere around there.
Okay. So you're not disagreeing that that's what was stated, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you agree that Lisa Rucker is smaller than you, correct?
At the time,
We can talk about October 31st, yes.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. She's shorter than you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Weighs less than you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we also know that Ashley's, what, 5'3", approximately 139 pounds, correct?
About 145.
Okay. So you disagree with what the medical examiner stated?
I don't know if she weighed that last.
Okay, but you heard the medical examiner state that she weighed 139 close, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So don't agree with me just because if you don't remember, just say I don't remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you agree then you've got a 10-inch height difference, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Not only a 10-inch height difference, approximately 61-pound difference too, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're sitting in this very small walkway area. You're able to move to the point that it then strikes Lisa, correct? When I say it, meaning the bullet.
I don't understand what you mean.
Okay.
Like I moved out of the way for her to get hit? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying you've already told us you moved out the way, correct?
I was in motion, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so where did you move to? Because that's a very small area, you agree, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I just told you I was going this way out the front.
Right. So, but how did you move out the way of the bullet based upon where you just showed us the positioning?
Bad aim.
A bad aim. Okay. Now, after Lisa is struck, per your testimony by her own sister, then you stated that there was a struggle over the rifle?
I really struggled. I mean, she was kind of in shock at that point. Like, she couldn't believe it.
Because you talked about a spin around, right?
I spun around and grabbed it.
Matter of fact, you even stepped down today to show us about a
Sure.
spin around with the gun, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, how did that spin around occur in that small little area there?
It looks small from this angle, but it's not a small area.
Okay.
Pull out your chart.
You just answer my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not a big area, is it?
don't understand where you're trying to go with that.
I'm asking you, if you're struggling over the gun, how did that occur in this small area?
There's plenty of room for that to occur.
Okay. You agree that there's no furniture disturbed too, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there is nothing around that area that shows a struggle over a gun occurred, correct?
I never said it was a struggle.
You never said it was a struggle?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but didn't you say that you all were struggling over the gun?
She didn't want to let it go. We wasn't like tussling, fighting each other over the gun. She held the gun, and then when I twisted out of her hand.
But your finger never touched the trigger, and that's what you told us, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So she shot herself with that rifle in the back of her head, correct?
Not intentionally, no, ma'am.
She shot herself then in the back of the head with a rifle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how did that happen? How did she shoot herself in the back of the head with a rifle?
Only thing I can think is when I yanked the gun from her and she was like yanking it away.
Okay, because you heard. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just explaining how her hand went. And when you yanked the gun, it just went off. It wasn't like, do I think she intentionally shot herself? No, of course not.
And that's not what I'm asking. But you're still stating she shot herself, correct?
I didn't touch the trigger, yes, ma'am.
So that's a yes, right? Okay. And you agree she was shot in the back of the head, correct?
That's what they say. You're examining.
Medical examiner stated she was shot in the back of the head, correct?
That's what it says, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you disagreeing with that?
He knows best, right?
I asked you a question. Are you
No, ma'am.
disagreeing?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you agree then that she was shot in the back of the head?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so again, if you go and grab for the gun, how is she able to shoot herself in the back of the head with a rifle? How?
Demonstrate it. You see how long your arm is? How long was her arm?
Her lung was very similar to mine.
It's interesting. Maybe you should grab it and show the jurors.
And you don't get to ask the questions. Now, you heard Dr. Gillespie state that in his expert opinion, that the end of the barrel had to be at least 3 feet. Did you hear that?
I think so, yes, ma'am.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's think about 3 feet. That's something to show you. So we got a yardstick. Now you agree that a yardstick is 3 feet, correct?
You get pretty much, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's just say this would have to be the end. Okay? Where it touches Ashley's head, correct? And then this is 3 feet. And that means that at the end of the 3 feet is where the barrel is. Correct?
I don't know how long it is from there.
Okay.
From the handle to the barrel, I don't know.
Okay. And so then we talked about just my arm, right? Okay. So back of the head to the end of the barrel, you agree that my finger only goes to the end to where the barrel would be, correct?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And it would be even harder if it's in the back of my head, correct? For me to reach. Do you agree? That I can't even reach it? Can we do it for you again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So if I got it back in my head, and I'm reaching, I can't even reach, can I?
No.
So how in the world would Ashley pull the trigger and shoot herself in the back of the head?
I have no idea to tell you that.
Because it didn't happen that way, did it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Even though physically it's not possible.
If it's physically possible, you're using a yardstick. Grab the gun and do it.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't even be able to grab the gun.
And that's not true.
Because this is the 3 feet. So just thinking about it for a moment, okay? I'll make sure I just keep this pointed down.
Yes, ma'am.
So you agree that I would then have to have, because obviously the end of the barrel would have to be pointed at my head, correct? Apologize. But this would have to be pointed back at my head, correct? End of the barrel, right?
If you got your hand around this way of the stock, it will.
I'm not talking about how I'm holding it currently. I'm just, because obviously I want to keep things very safe right now, even though we know it's safe, but still. The end of the barrel, okay? Remember, it would have to be at the end of these 3 inches, okay? Right? And then the other end of the yardstick would be Ashley's head, correct?
Definitely not.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, can you stand just for a moment? Okay. Get here just a second. Okay. Okay. How in the world would her hand reach the trigger? And Mr. Atkinson's arm's longer, we can agree, can't we?
Yes, ma'am.
So you agree then it's physically impossible for Ashley to have shot herself in the back of the head.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
At the angle you're holding that, yes, ma'am.
You stated that you cared and loved Joseph, correct? Like your own son, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
However, you left his mother for dead, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you left Lisa for dead, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You thought Lisa was dead too, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, you thought you were going to leave no witnesses, didn't you?
What?
You thought you were going to leave no witnesses, didn't you?
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Okay. You agree that there's only 3 people in the condominium at the time of the shootings, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you thought they were both dead, didn't you? And you fled out that condo on October 31st, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, leaving no witnesses to what you did, correct?
I ain't did nothing.
Okay. And then you fled, correct?
Left, yes,
And
ma'am.
you took the murder weapon, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you never called police, did you?
No, ma'am.
In fact, you never even called for rescue, did you?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Because you agree, you could have called for rescue at least.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
Okay. And you actually slept in the woods, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was cold that night, wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's because you were hiding from the police, weren't you?
At that time, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And because you knew they'd be looking for you, didn't you?
Of course.
Okay. Because you knew that your identification would be known, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you got some toothpaste and a toothbrush, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that was what was found in your jacket pocket. You agree that that was your jacket?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agree that that's the jacket that you used to zip up and cover the rifle, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you went ultimately then to Mr. King's residence, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also took out the battery of your cell phone, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you did not want the police to track you, did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Mr. King tried to get you to turn yourself in, didn't he?
I was coming out to turn myself in anyways.
He had a call,
He talked to me, yes, ma'am.
and he tried to get you to turn yourself in, correct?
I turned myself in that same day.
I'm talking about before the SWAT team came to Mr. King's residence.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Because Mr. King left the residence, didn't he, to call the police?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agreed that the robot that Detective Hinton had saw you pacing, holding your rifle, the murder weapon, correct?
At a door frame, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And ultimately then, that's when you surrendered, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you agree that this is not an identification case, correct? And your ID's no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agree this is not a self-defense case, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand. Can you I don't know what you mean by that.
No problem at all. You agree that this is not a self-defense case?
No, I don't know. Ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor, it's asking for a legal conclusion that he's unable to give.
All right, if you will phrase your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So you agree the only person that had the firearm was Ashley, correct?
You going back to the scene?
I have to go back a little bit just to rephrase some of my wording.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I apologize for that, but that's what I need to do, okay? So I just want to make it very clear. The only person that had a weapon that was of deadly force is Ashley, correct?
At the time of the shooting, yes, ma'am.
No one else had any other weapons, correct? Per your testimony.
When the shooting took place?
Yes. I'm only talking right now about the shooting, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agree, based upon your testimony, is that Ashley shot her own sister, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then, also per your testimony, you agree that Ashley shot herself, correct?
Neither one was intentional.
Right, I'm just saying, for your testimony though, she shot herself, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
And when you were coming down the stairs, did you ever see Lyle Scheidemann when you were fleeing the residence?
No, ma'am.
And you agree that these shots happened pretty quickly, correct? One after another?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you agree there was only 2 shots, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the only 2 people that ended up shot are Lisa and Ashley, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Is there any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
You loved Ashley, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You love Joseph, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You hate that any of this happened, don't you?
Of course, regardless of all of it, if it could all be redone, I would take the bullet.
Are you proud of your decisions that night? Leave.
By leaving them? No, ma'am, I'm not.
You said that Ashley likes to do a lot of home improvement projects, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Were some of those underway in the condo at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was blood everywhere, right? You saw from the pictures. It seems everybody was bleeding. And so there's blood down outside, inside, all over.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were circling around the apartment, gathering your things, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That include your toothbrush and toothpaste.
I don't honestly remember how they got in my pocket.
But you were getting ready to leave.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, and you said Ashley and Lisa both asked you to leave, right?
I don't recall.
Or either one, I'm sorry. Lisa had asked haven't left yet, right?
No, ma'am.
Because you're gathering your things. Did they seem upset about that?
That was normal stuff. That was normal kind of stuff.
What was normal?
Just,
Well, were they upset that you weren't leaving the house yet?
no, ma'am.
And you knew you couldn't have that gun, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that part of the reason you ran?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you knew you'd be arrested if the police got to you even just for that?
And I'm a convicted felon.
Now, if, Your Honor would allow, I'd like to, use the, yardstick if the state will allow me.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, I'd like to use the yardstick if the state will allow me. I want you to show me where your hands were as relation to hers, if that,
Yes.
Your Honor. Thank
That's
you.
fine.
Okay, if I get up, ma'am? Or,
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
just right next to
there.
it.
Just again, speak loudly,
yes,
so
ma'am.
you're not gonna be mic'd up, so that the jurors and the court reporter and I, and everyone can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Asher, what I need you to do is position me how you remember Ashley being and treat this as the yardstick. Now we had, or as the yardstick. Treat this as the gun, and we understand the gun's a little shorter than this, but we're gonna do our best. Tell me what to do.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm
Just
sorry.
like-
You can't honestly do it this way with this stick, but, and then she's got it this way.
Okay, so something like this, and we know it's shorter, but, okay.
Right, up underneath, right,
And what happened?
that's, and then grab it in this way.
Okay. And did she look away at any point that you can remember?
I don't know, so,
And how fast did the gun go off from that point that you spun it around?
it's just, when I did it this way, this hand's gone,
Right.
this comes off, you go this way,
That's right.
this yanks.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong.
Yes, ma'am.
So even with the yardstick longer than the rifle, it's possible that she could have been shot where she was.
Yes, ma'am.
And you did hear Mr. Gillespie, or my apologies, Dr. Gillespie say that his opinion was that the shot was 3 feet away. But you also remember him saying that any evidence of the distance could have been washed away by the blood. Do you recall hearing that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And again, you said Ashley liked to do a lot of home improvement projects. You don't happen to know how big the tiles in the apartment were, do you?
Them looks like probably, what, foot and a half?
Okay. But you don't know, you didn't know.
I'm just going off the picture, yes, ma'am.
And so when you left the apartment, did you believe you had committed a crime?
I having a gun?
Any crime,
No, ma'am.
other than having the gun?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were afraid you could get arrested, right? And have to go on trial, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no more questions.
All right. All right, I think now then is a good time to take a recess from the jury, but let me just inquire of the attorneys for scheduling purposes. Are there any other witnesses the defense wishes to present?
No, you're right, this time defense trust.
All right, so the defense has now rested its case. Does the state anticipate any type of rebuttal case?
Yeah, I would just need one moment, probably like 5 minutes.
Okay, let me then just ask the jurors to leave their notepads on their seats and just have a step into the juror room. I'm just deciding whether to send you all for an early lunch or to continue on here for another normal lunch break. So if you'll just step inside with a reminder that you're not to talk about this case among yourselves.